one of them, one of them's language production, language
Right.
understanding, and just never would have put those two together. So it's just kind of awesome to see my teaching from Psych 101 to come into public speaking like that. Yeah, that's pretty dope. I was pretty excited about that.
So how would you call yourself a public speaker, an activist? How would you describe Sonny?
Describe Sonny? A multitasker.
A multitasker.
That's what I don't know yet. I'm not even gonna act like I have that yet, that definition yet.
Okay.
Since I'm ever changing anyway, it's kind of hard to define that. It's
Okay.
a constant. So I'd be lying if I were to tell you public speaker, radio personality. I could definitely tell you I'm a mom.
Okay. So that's the constant. Huh?
Okay, yeah, that's the constant. That's the
Okay.
one that ain't gonna change whether I have a job or not. So.
Okay. So when you hear people talk about the controversies around Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter, what do you think of when you hear people talking about those two concepts?
I understand both the concepts. I understand where they're both coming from, and when I see them clashing online, because I see a lot of clashing online, I see people going to the streets. Not so much physically clashing that way, but I see more of it starting online. My first instinct, my first thought is, why can't both come together, to unify? Because they're both true. They're not both wrong. But I do believe that there are some rebel rousers out there who I do believe want to take away some of the thunder of Black Lives Matter. I do believe that there are. I don't believe all of them are like that. But the way someone explained it online is like when Susan G. Komen has a race, or they have all these events. And for someone else to come in from, I don't know, the heart disease community and say, well, all diseases are killing people. It's like, we know that, but these group of people, based on their experiences, have come together and want to fight this one disease. We all have gifts that we can give towards certain movements, and it doesn't take away from the heart disease community. It doesn't take away from the mental health community. This is just their focus. And sometimes I feel like when all lives matter and Black Lives Matter start to clash, I think we're taking away from the bigger picture, which is human rights on either side. So it frustrates me because there are, of course, everywhere you're going to find people that are just trying to start trouble. But I hear the same message from both groups. I didn't even know there were both groups, really, to be honest.
Okay. So here's the elephant in the room. For the most part, right? So we look at welfare systems, and in the popular media it's portrayed that Black people are the majority of people on welfare, Black people are the majority of people in jails, Black people are criminals and all this kind of stuff. So it's easy to blame systems and that kind of stuff, but we're supposed to be in a post-racial society or trans-racial society. So is it possible that there's something genetically wrong with Black people that they can't operate in this system?
If there was something genetically wrong with Black people, I'd say it's a human thing. I wouldn't say it's a Black people thing, personally. Culturally, there might be some, I guess that goes back to the nature versus nurture argument. Of course your environment is going to affect your ability to succeed, your access to resources and things like that. But I personally don't think there's anything genetically wrong with Black people and why we can't succeed. I believe there are different barriers in different communities, and when it gets down to one individual's ability to succeed, I believe that's up to that one individual. I don't think unless they have like a special needs, and that's a whole entirely different conversation. But I think the question that you're asking has a lot more to do with the human spirit than so much, or the will to succeed, than someone being Black or Asian or Hispanic or something like that. I most certainly believe that different cultures, because of their behaviors that they practice in each cultures, will cause them to be exposed to different barriers, because we're all in this country and everybody's got different cultures and everybody's got different belief systems, and we have those clashes. But when it gets down to something being genetically wrong with black people, I don't believe that. I don't. I totally believe that there are cultural barriers. I believe there's communication barriers. I believe there's barriers to resources. But genetically, on a scientific DNA level, no.
Okay, all right. So if you were to, so as you see this movement unfold, right? Because you're on social media quite a bit. You're on Twitter. What are what are the trends that you're seeing in the social media?
As far as both of those groups?
As far as both of those groups.
I'm not seeing a lot of Black Lives Matter I'm not seeing a lot of that taken to the streets, or maybe there's just not a lot of media coverage on it. But I will say this, what I'm saying about Black Lives Matter. The complaint about our generation is that we've become lazy and we use most of our activism in social media. And so for me, I see that this is one thing that has moved from social media to the actual streets. I can't say that I know, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I don't know that I necessarily see that for All Lives Matter. That might be still in its infancy stages. I just wish that they could get together, really. I really wish, I'm hoping some of the lead heads can get together and understand that you both are saying the exact same thing.
Okay.
You know, this is not something to clash over.
Yeah.
It's taking away from the bigger picture, which is human rights.
Yeah.
We're all humans, you know.
So, different topic. So, hipster racism.
Okay.
Or ironic racism. Are you familiar with those concepts?
No.
So it would be like, what's the woman's name? Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay.
Standing up in a Jay-Z concert, yelling out, "Y'all all my..."
Right.
Right. You know, the N-word. Or Katy Perry dressing up as a Native American, to go to a party.
Right. Right.
Or people dressing up like, having a white trash party, or having a ghetto fad party, and that's not their cultural background.
Right.
So have you seen some of that
Totally
stuff on social
seen
media?
that. Yes, totally
Okay.
seen that.
So tell me what you see in social media, and tell me what you think that says about our society as a whole.
So what I'm seeing in social media is a younger generation poking fun at some of their previous generation's serious issues. That could be one of two things. That could be just young people not really understanding what happened in the generation before them, and it could be young people totally understanding what happened in the generation before them and making light of it. So to me, that's what I see. I see that could be because young people do dumb stuff. We can all agree to that. I've made light of serious situations. I've had to check myself over the years and say, hey, that's not funny. You shouldn't be joking around about that, on various situations. So I totally believe that could be one of those two things. The second question, I don't remember what you asked me.
So what do you think that means?
Says about our
Yeah,
about
so
our
what does
culture.
that say about our culture? Well, no, let's go back. So you said
Okay.
there was two things, right? So maybe young people not understanding the gravity of what they're
making fun of.
What they're making fun of. Is that helpful or is that harmful?
I see it in both ways. I see it as helpful because it's an opportunity for the elders to come and school young kids and let them know, because people have had to check me about things I was joking about. And that's an opportunity for connections to be made. It's an opportunity for young people to learn and grow. On the other hand, it's harmful because like all young people and like all human beings, not everybody's going to have a listening ear. Not every elder is going to share that wisdom. So on that part that's left open, and it's like to me grabbing a knife out of the dish rack and it's sitting up. To me, that's the equivalent to it. So it can be helpful and harmful depending upon how we as humans respond to it.
Okay. So the second part of that same statement you just made, you also said that there may be young people who know very well.
Who know good and well, yeah.
Who know good and well.
Yeah.
That they're making fun of something that they should be making fun of. So what is it that they're trying to get by doing that? Because all human behavior is goal-directed. People do stuff because they get stuff.
Right, so what's the intent
So what do you
behind
think
it?
the intent is?
If I had to guess what the intent is, I wouldn't be able to because everybody has their own agenda.
But what in social media, right? So what are you seeing in social media?
I see a lack of sensitivity, a lack of social sensitivity in social media. But I believe the same way my generation has a lack of sensitivity to the N-word, I think the next generation behind me has a lack of sensitivity to the things that were sensitive to us. So I think, just if this next generation may not have had to have been exposed to it the way my generation was or the generation before me. So they don't understand the heaviness of the issues they're making fun of. And so that, to me, that might be just a reflection of a generation of kids just not understanding what's happening socially. Okay. That's what that looks like to me. They just don't understand. The same way the argument with my generation and the generation before us. My generation before us literally could not get jobs, on top of that being called the N-word, or getting jobs and being called the N-word at work. And then for my generation to use it in songs, I grew up with NWA and stuff like that. So for them to take all of these issues that my parents and my aunts and my uncles were dealing with and to turn it on its ear and represent it as a form of their artistic expression, that freaked our elders out. So being that the next generation is doing the same thing to the issues that we dealt with, it's kind of like, oh, well, they're young people, but it's still our responsibility as elders to still reach out and say, hey, this is what really happened.
Okay, last question.
Okay, cool.
Blackish.
Okay.
The television show. Have you watched that at all?
I have watched that show.
Okay, so what are your impressions of that show, Blackish?
Honestly, I'm tired of the narrative of a black family trying to fit into a white culture. Personally, I'm tired of it. I want to see a black family embracing their culture and just trying to be a happy, healthy family. Why can't I see a black family trying to integrate into an all-Asian neighborhood? Or why can't I see an Asian family integrating into an all-Mexican? I'm tired of the narrative of we can be civilized and we can be, and maybe I haven't watched enough of Blackish, but to me it was a new school Cosby Show. Just to me. And I'm just kind of sick of that narrative. I want to see black people embracing their stuff, and they totally might be doing that. I could be wrong, but just the first couple of episodes I saw, it was, for me, and I'm probably going to get snapped on for this, it just seemed a little watered down to me, and I just want to see a black family in a black neighborhood, or just a really, really normal. To me, I think of Everybody Hates Chris. I think to me it was totally African American cultural issues. It wasn't another black family trying to fit into another culture. I'm just sick of seeing that personally.
All right, cool. That's it. We're done.
Okay, cool. That was fun.
Anything else you want to add or say?
I really want to push home, and I've been accused of being on Sesame Street my whole life, but I just really hope that some people's hearts are touched that all lives matter and Black Lives Matter can get together. And I see this. I could see this going really nasty, and I could see such a powerful movement if they really come together, because they're really saying the same thing. All right. That's the last thing I want to say.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem. That was fun. So what kind of